back to the Sideline Sports Show. Today is Tuesday, June 2nd, and we have more baseball news as Major League Baseball, the owners, are expected to release a counteroffer, more or less. Major League Baseball wants a shorter season where players would get their full prorated salary, something like 50 or 60 games. Now, yesterday, we talked about the minor league baseball players' proposal, what they wanted, and they wanted a 114-game regular season, which, I don't think is going to happen. So there's, if the players wanted prorated salaries over an 114-game season, I don't see them being willing to prorated salaries for 50 or 60 games. However, Commissioner Manfred does have the authority, because of the agreement that was reached on March 26th, to start the season of any length with the full prorated salary. So he can make a 40-game season if he really wanted to, but I don't see that happening. I see them, if there's going to be a season, they're going to have to reach a deal in which they're playing a meaningful amount of games. Otherwise, there's no point. If they're playing 40 games, there's no point in having them risk all of their health and the future of the game for a 40-game season, when there's potential that they could be shut down in the middle of September or the fall when a second wave hits, as they're talking about. The biggest news today is the state of minor league baseball and how there is the possibility that dozens of minor league teams could potentially go bankrupt, and somewhere around 1,000 minor league baseball players could be cut. Right now, hundreds have already been cut, and there's expected to be more today, just as teams can't afford to pay minor leaguers some of their salaries. I think $400 a week. Multiply that by however many teams you have. If you think about it, there are 260 minor league teams. Figure each team has about 25 guys. That's a lot of money every week that teams have to dish out. Some teams actually have more. The Nationals players, so Nationals owners and management did not want to pay their players. They said no, they couldn't afford to pay them, so the team is chipping in to pay the minor leaguers' salaries. I know David Price did that with the Dodgers himself, but the team is coming together, pooling their money to help pay the minor leaguers. Super agent Scott Boras is going to pay the full salaries of all minor league players that he represents, which I think is good. I mean, I know I said some disparaging things about him a couple days back, how I don't like him. I think he's always, I feel like he's always trying to work an angle, personally, but I do commend him for this, because people don't realize this, but these minor leaguers getting cut, that pretty much means the end of their dream. This means that they were axed, they were cut, their dreams were crushed because of something completely out of their control. It wasn't like they got cut because they were playing well. It was they were getting cut because teams couldn't afford to pay them anymore. And as a baseball player, I'm going to tell you right now that hurts. That really hurts. I don't know how upset. I can't even begin to tell you how these guys that are getting cut, that are pretty much becoming unemployed, how they're feeling. I can't begin to tell you. I myself can't even fathom what they must be going through personally, because you play baseball since you were a little kid. If most major league players have been playing baseball, most baseball players that play professionally, minor league, independent league, or in the major leagues, have been playing baseball since they were around 3 or 4 years old. You play 3 or 4 years old, now you're 23, you're 22, and you're playing professionally. And for all of a sudden that just be ripped away, not because of anything you did, but it was something that was completely out of your control, that hurts. It sounds weird that 24-year-olds, 26-year-old people are having their dreams crushed, but they most certainly are, because this is all you want to do. Once you get to be a professional baseball player and you make money, granted, when you're in the minor leagues, you're not making much, but when you make money playing a game that you love, you can't imagine doing anything different. I can't imagine playing baseball for money. right? I play for enjoyment right now. So that's really disappointing. I could care less. You know what? If the players want to hold out, let them. I'd rather take those minor leaguers, have them play a major league season, have them play. Let those major leaguers sit out that are holding out over $1 million. Let the minor leaguers play. God knows they need the money more than major league players do. So that's really disappointing. It's really disappointing to see the season get cut short like that. To see careers pretty much ended before they have a chance to start. And before we get, it just makes you think. I'm going to use Derek Jeter as an example. Derek Jeter probably would have been. I can't say he probably would have been cut, but you could look at guys that were Mike Piazza. If Mike Piazza, he was a 62nd round draft pick. If he was playing in today's day and age, there's a decent chance he would have been cut at this time. A lot of Hall of Famers were late round draft picks that weren't incredibly special their first couple of years in the minor leagues. Can you imagine? I can't help but think teams realize that when they take a chance cutting a guy, they are taking a chance. They are cutting a once in a generation type talent. Granted, not everyone can be like Mike Trout and Bryce Harper and make their big league debut when they're 19 years old. You can get guys like Aaron Judge, who was 25 when he made his debut. I mean, yeah, he was hitting absolute nukes in the minor leagues, but who knows? It's really, really crushing to see all these players getting released, and you just can't help but think that what happens if one of these guys turned out to be a future Hall of Famer? What happened if you cut a future Hall of Famer before he was even able to get a real shot and to prove himself? He played 1 year of low A ball. He had a mediocre year, but he was going to keep. But he was a 20-year-old kid. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get faster. He's going to be stronger. But now you cut him, and you have absolutely no idea if you were cutting the next superstar or the next face of your franchise. If you look at it, most of the great players in Major League Baseball were not first-round draft picks, number one overall picks. Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those were exceptions. Carlos Correa, exception. But you look at like Nolan Arenado, second-round pick. Okay, you get guys that were drafted in the 11th round, and they came out to be very serviceable Major League Baseball players. They made very good career, and they weren't high draft picks. They weren't first-round picks. So the whole circumstance of how everything went down is very, very disappointing, and I can't help but think that Major League Baseball is going to be hurting. Major League Baseball is going to be hurting because your minor league pool is gone. You don't have any depth in the minor leagues anymore with all these cuts. You don't. Yeah, granted, your best players are staying there, but what happens if they get hurt and they fizzle out? Farm systems are being completely depleted, and the game is not in a good place right now. I'm not even talking about the game coming back. The game as a whole is not in a good place because you don't have these minor league players. You don't have these people here to. You're cutting the future. You are taking people from. You are pretty much altering the future by cutting minor league baseball players. And who knows? This whole issue with Major League Baseball isn't something that's going to be solved in a year or 2 years. The game is going to be changed for a long time because of this, because of the shortened season, because of all these minor league players getting cut, and the fact that teams aren't going to be able to replenish their farm system necessarily because it's a 5-round draft next week. It's 5 rounds, and then they can sign players after the fact, but the players that they can sign, they can only give them, I think, a $200,000 bonus, which, okay, but also, if teams are financially struggling, do you think they're going to go out and spend $200,000 on players that they may or may not know how they're going to do because they didn't get to watch them play this year? Probably not. I know there's a friend of mine who's being, there's a guy who from where I'm at in New York who's been talking Major League Scouts. He's a beast. He's going to be going to Boston College, but he potentially could have been drafted this year. I'm not saying he would have signed, but Now he can, and I don't think he'll sign for that money. I think he'd rather go to college, play 3 years there, get bigger, faster, stronger, and see where he goes in 3 years. But like I said before, the game is not in a good place right now, and it hurts. It hurts to watch how everything's starting to crumble. And you're saying, well, you might be saying, Matt, how is everything crumbling? There's no structure to Major League Baseball. Nothing about the integrity of the game right now, but you're not going to have a full season. And it's not going to be like 1994 where they played it until about August. Season cut short. They came back end of April in 95, and then the season, and things just came back. It's not going to be like that, because back then that was just a strike. This is more or less a strike and a global pandemic paired into one, and even if they solve the strike portion, the pandemic could completely screw everything up. If there's a second wave that hits, the season is going to be shut down in September when that second wave hits. I'm not even talking about sports anymore. I'm talking about nationally and globally. We are not going to be able to recover if we're not going to be able to recover in a year economically. And just things are never going to be the same. Like, if you think about it, after all this is said and done, do you think people are going to want to shake hands with one another anymore? Probably not. You're going to see bans in Major League Baseball and baseball around the country, probably on sunflower seeds, spinning. There's going to be restrictions on that. Because now, nobody knows what's inside your body. Nobody knows what's going on. If there's some super virus. Before this, we didn't really have a super virus like this since 1918. And everyone assumed, well, it was because nobody used, it wasn't like hygiene was at the top of the list in the early 1900s. We're in 2020. We have the best technology ever. We can do all sorts of medicals, and we can't figure out this virus. We can't figure out how to fix it. People are dying. People don't know how they're getting it. It's an invisible killer. So, but yeah, no, I don't see there being, people aren't going to shake hands. That's one of the biggest things. And you look in hockey, they shake hands with the other team. That's not going to happen. And even just in life, give someone a nice handshake. That's probably not going to happen anymore. The world will be changed because of the coronavirus. And this is just not sports world. The sports world will be changed too. Hopefully it'll be able to return to some sense of normalcy in a couple years, but there's going to be a new normal. People are, people want to just get back to just the way it was before, and that's not going to happen. Sports, it's not going to happen. And you're seeing it because of all these things, all of these problems, or all these, direct actions. For example, we're going back to baseball. The Yankees released 45 minor league players. The Yankees are probably one of the most affluent teams, or the most financially, the team that is probably financially stable, one of the most financially stable teams in sports. And they still have to release 45 minor league players, and it's probably going to be more. The game this isn't something that is just going to be solved overnight, like I'm saying. The game is going to feel the effects of this for years. Minor league teams rebuilds are being pushed back. The Marlins, they were probably 4 or 5 years away from competing, I would say. They're 6 or 7 years off now. The Baltimore Orioles, were probably 8 or 9 years off. I would say the Orioles were far off. Their rebuild is going to push back, especially without a minor league season. Regardless if players got cut now, especially because players have to get cut, this rebuilds are pushed back. You look at teams that are aging; they're not necessarily going to be able to get younger because they have to be able to. Teams have to field minor league teams. You can't teams have to realize this. For their players to develop, they need to play in minor league baseball. In order to play in minor league baseball, you need to have teams. You need to have minor league teams so that you're good players. You can't you can't build a farm system with just the best players in your organization. There are going to be some grinders, some guys that are going to be lifetime minor league baseball players, but those lifetime minor league players are not in the league. They are being released. They are out of a job, and to be honest with you, who knows if they're going to get hired again? It's dejecting. And those players, they don't have the state-of-the-art facilities that a lot of the major league players have. They're thrown out of their back. They're working like I am in our front yards with a tee or a modified bullpen thrown into a net. It's disappointing to see that this is what Major League Baseball has come towards. It's a sad day, because not only is the future of Major League Baseball for this season looking bad, the future doesn't look good if you really look into it. I'm going to cover I have one little note left before I'm going to either end this video or go on another rant, but it's really upsetting. I've kind of said a lot of the same thing, but I just can't say it enough. It is a sad time to be a baseball fan. It's different in basketball, because in basketball you have the G League. You don't really have many affiliates. Hockey, you have some minor league affiliates, but not as bad. The NFL, you have the practice squad, things like that. Major League Baseball is the biggest sport that relies on a farm system or a developmental league to groom the major league players. You look at NFL players. NFL players come out of college, come out of high school, major league are professionally ready. Some major league players, they need 3 years in the minor leagues before they're able to come and do the things at the major league level. So it's not gonna be good. It's really not going to be good. It's not going to be a enjoyable time to watch everything go down, because it's not going to be pretty. I wouldn't be surprised if some small market teams are being sold, or they potentially go bankrupt and they fold. I wouldn't be surprised if minor league teams or professional teams fold throughout this whole crisis, especially if there is a season and major league teams lose as much revenue as they're saying they're going to lose. One of the teams that might is the Wilpons and the Mets, because the Wilpons don't like to spend money. And Alex Rodriguez, who originally made one push along with Jennifer Lopez, they made a push to buy the Mets. They were unsuccessful. They backed out, but now they're reportedly making a second bid at the Mets. The Wilpons, the Mets owners, don't like to spend money. People have wanted to see the Wilpons out for a long time, especially diehard Mets fans. They've wanted to see the Wilpons gone for some time now. But now you get somebody like A-Rod who's got money to spend. And the Mets fans were all excited because they thought that the guy, billionaire from Wall Street billionaire, was going to buy the Mets earlier in the offseason, but that fell through. Now it looks like A-Rod's going to buy the Mets, which in the long run could benefit the Mets as he'd probably be willing to spend money. It was the team he grew up, idolizing. He wanted to watch. But yeah, no, I mean, I think as professionals, as major league players see all these minor leaguers getting cut, there's gonna be some. I would hope the Major League Players Association institutes some sort of clause where they'd be willing to take pay cuts in order to pay minor league players, or they pay for it out of pocket without a clause with the professional teams, because I hope that they notice that was them not too long ago. They were in those minor leaguer shoes, and that could have been any of them. That could have been any of them getting cut because they didn't have a good year, or they couldn't afford them anymore. I hope the major league players on every team see that and do their best to pitch in and help the teams retain those players. I hope agents do the same thing like Scott Boras is doing. We can only hope that teams do the right thing and try and salvage the minor league players, because they are the backbone of major league teams. There are thousands of minor league baseball players, and there are very few major league players. Those minor league players are responsible for pushing one another, and hopefully those guys get pushed to the major league. That's the future right there. Those 1,000 people, majority of them are going to fizzle out and never be productive major league players. But you need those superstars, and then those guys that are coming and be very serviceable major league players for a long time. players that are going to make a career out of being able to grind, and they're just not going to be able to leave. You look at guys like Marwin Gonzalez. He's not a superstar. He's a guy that can just grind. He plays every position. Ben Zobrist really wasn't a superstar, but he made a great major league career. Steve Pearce was another one. He was able to come through in the biggest clutches. He wasn't Todd Frazier. Like, all these guys that you're like, yeah, I know those names. They're not superstars. They're not making trillions of dollars like some of these other guys are. But they are serviceable major league players that made a career out of grinding. And currently the minor league players that are getting cut, their future is being ripped away. Now they have to go out and get. You look at a lot of the guys getting cut. They just have a high school degree. They got drafted in the 28th round out of high school, and they figured they're not going to go any higher. This might be their one and only shot. They're going to go for it. How are they going to? Now they got to go to college. Now they're going to go to college. All they've known is professional baseball. They've grown up in professional sports. In a professional sport, baseball is their life. And now they're lost. They don't know what to do. So that's all I'm going to say on it for today. I mean, there's not much else going on. Too much doom and gloom today, so we're going to cut today's episode right about there. If you guys agree with me, if you guys disagree, if you have thoughts of your own, please let me know down below. I'll try to, I really like interacting with people who think differently or alike from me, so hopefully, hopefully that works, and that'll be a good start. We can interact that way. But thank you guys so much for watching the Sideline Sports Show. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.